Ministry of Internal Affairs officially takes over the NGO Bureau. Changes in parade formation as Uganda celebrates 62nd independence anniversary. While Buganda Masaza Cup final schedule released in the sports world. Welcome once again, it's News Tonight. Vice President Major retired Jessica Alupo has said that an educated woman is an asset to the nation. She has tasked parents to implement the policy of girl-child education to end the vicious cycle of poverty in the VP Alupo was speaking during the opening of St. Elizabeth Girls Secondary School in Kikumbo, Rubirizi district, where she said that an educated woman is an asset for the family, community, government, and the nation at large.
Chairman LC1 zibona. Chairman LC1 zimwena bali hanu mwemerere tumanyiro kuba. We have Honorable Stephen Masiko Chiweka and Honorable District Council. Mama, where are you? Mama, where are you? Oh, thank you.
It is my honor to join you today to officially open St. Elizabeth Girls Secondary School, Kikumbo. We as a government have decided that the cultures of leaving the girl child behind should be dropped, and the culture of promoting the boy child as well as the boy child and the girl child should be promoted. Join me to salute and thank Kikumbo Catholic Parish under the leadership of Reverend Father Alex Mubangizi and the area member of Parliament, Honorable Muhammad Katoto, and Honorable Grace, whose efforts and far-sighted leadership led to the establishment of this school. This school has humble beginnings, but a very bright future. I encourage the founders of the school and the community to draw inspiration from the parable of the mustard seed. I am glad that this school is built on a strong foundation of the church and the values that the church preaches and practices. I am also happy that this school comes as an addition to government's effort to empower the girl child through education.
Na Father Alex
Her Excellency Jessica Alupo in Rubili. Something new awaits revelers looking forward to observe the 62nd independence anniversary celebrations in Busia district. There was parade rehearsals in Busiho Primary Teachers College in Busia, where the main occasion will be held on the 9th October. Henry Okrut was in Busia district to follow up the development.
For so many years, this is what Ugandans have been witnessing. From salutes with guns tightened to the parade marcher's waist to one where it is end to end with the chest. From the goose march, where the bayonet is sharply pointed to the next parade mark, to one where it is pointed to the sky with the gun next to the chest. This has often been viewed in both slow and quick march pasts. Such is what has often identified the Uganda People's Defense Forces, the police, prison and other armed forces as unique, disciplined and smart. This being a thing of the past. Armed forces led by the UPDF have introduced a new parade formation as Uganda celebrates 62 years of independence. As the rehearsals commence, one of the most visible things here is the change from the usual SAR parade gun with sharp pointed bayonets to the new improved AK-47. The swinging of hands, as has been the case in the previous parades, has been minimized in this new formation. The goose march with legs in the sky has equally been changed. It all begins from formation, to dressing, to the march pasts, all the way to the salutes. This is just a tip of the iceberg of what Ugandans should expect to see at the upcoming 62nd Independence Day anniversary celebrations. The deputy spokesperson of the UPDF, Kanodeo Akiki, is pioneering the commanding of this new parade. According to officials, this is part of the continuous effort by the state of professionalizing the armed forces of Uganda. Henry Okrut, UBC.
That is just the day after tomorrow. Ministry of Internal Affairs has officially taken over the functions of the Non-Government Organizations Bureau, that's the NGO Bureau as commonly known, the Bureau following the recent Rationalization Act passed by Parliament. Out of the 42 original staff members, only 12 have been retained under the new structure.
The Ministry of Internal Affairs has dissolved the Non-Government Organization Bureau as part of rationalization move. The Bureau is now a department in the Ministry of Internal Affairs headed by Senior Commissioner.
This is part of the rationalization efforts by government that aims to streamline and increase efficiency in service provision. Key implications, of course, include centralized control, increased scrutiny, and alignment with government priorities.
At least 30 former employees of the Bureau have lost jobs following internal interviews conducted by the Ministry of Public Service.
The staff have already been appointed in the interviews that were held by Public Service 2 weeks ago. So we have staff of 12 members, I think down from 42 to 12. This is the staff that is going to man that Department of NGO Management, now under the Ministry of Internal Affairs.
In the meantime, police have updated on the murder of the fuel station employee whose body was dumped along the northern bypass.
But these ones are aiding us in the ongoing investigation. These are boys who pick bottles and rubbish around the area. There is one that was arrested on that very day who was found sleeping under the bridge. And so far we have not found any connection of these suspects to the crime, but they are only leading us to they are only aiding us in the investigation that is ongoing. So we don't have any major leads on the murder of the lady that was found dead along the northern bypass.
Meanwhile, traffic police have intensified operations against border riders to address road crashes caused by reckless riding. Abduna and Rogers Komagum for UBC.
Let's take a short break. Thank you so much for watching.
Uganda fire! Endiva fire! Our border fire! Uganda! Thank you for showing your fire! As Uganda Crane showed Congo, why nobody is called a Katino? My yuwawa mubiri ngabulijo. Katika Uganda Grace Section South Sudan on the 11th of October. Bring more fire and support even harder Nambole. Dial *165*20# or go to buy ticket on the Momo app to get your discounted ordinary ticket at 20k on Momo. And it comes with a free train ride to cash. It's 25k. Game starts at 7 p.m. The first 2 nail special beers go for 1k each when you buy with Momo at MTN Gavut Day. Uganda Grace Fire! MTN Fire! Proudly brought to you by MTN, the #1 supporter of Uganda's football. Together, truly unstoppable.
Hey kids, we're going to count today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Enjoy 5 ways to love your baby. Smoothen and protect your baby's skin with 5 new gentle formulations. Original to nurture your baby. Aloe vera to protect your chibubu skin. Cocoa butter to comfort your pinku. Mild scent to soothe your little one. And avocado to soften your buju skin. Available in all supermarkets, retail shops, and cosmetics shops near you. Move it, baby jelly. All day confidence.
Thank you so much for watching and welcome back from the break. In our other story, since gaining independence in 1962, Uganda's economic journey has been marked by significant fluctuations shaped by political turmoil and policy shifts. UBC's Wadulo Mark had a sit-down with Professor Ezra Ruma, the presidential advisor, head of finance and planning, to dissect Uganda's 62-year economic journey.
Ezra Ruma, born on November 11, 1945, is a prominent Ugandan economist, banker, and academician. He has had a distinguished career in academia and public service since 1973, exactly 11 years after Uganda's independence.
The British had established what they called boards. So you had the Lint Marketing Board, which had monopoly of buying and ginning cotton and exporting cotton. And it would buy all the cotton from the whole country and would export it. And they would announce prices at the beginning of the season. So people who are growing cotton would know what the price they would get. They would decide whether to grow or not to grow.
Before 1962, World Bank sent Harvard University's Professor Edward S. Mason to develop a study called Economic Development of Uganda. This became government's manuscript to forge a budding sovereign economy, thriving with trade and agriculture, particularly cotton and coffee, comprising 76% of exports, with GDP of approximately $449 million at the time.
Indians were owning the light manufacturing industries that were there. Sugar, soap, I don't remember, I think some soap, salt and so on, light manufacturing, and maybe 90% of the trading.
Uganda got its independence during the Cold War. Former colonies were being influenced to lean either towards communist or capitalistic ideologies.
The struggle between Russia and America being capitalist and Russia being communist, was very, very vicious and very serious. So many of us, countries which were becoming independent, had to decide, should we go communist or should we go capitalist? And many chose to, of course the Cold War was actually war. If you went to communist, you're seen as, if you went capitalist, you're seen as enemy by the communists. So many of our countries chose to be non-aligned. So they would have elements of capitalism and elements of communism. So planning was actually essentially coming from the communist strategy. They had once had introduced 5-year plans, and we learned from them and started adopting that.
Between 1962 and 1971, President Obote's government used parastatals like Uganda Lint Marketing Board, Uganda Development Corporation, and Uganda Produce Marketing Board to support industrialization.
And a step which was taken by the Obote administration was forming a Ugandan bank, because the banking sector was dominated by foreign companies, Barclays Bank, Grindlays Bank, Bank of Baroda and so on. So the Uganda Savings and Credit company, which had been formed for helping Africans to also save and get credit, was turned into a bank, Uganda, in 1965.
In this period, Uganda joined Kenya and Tanzania to form the East African Community in 1967, aiming to establish a common market.
The economy remained mainly capitalist. So when Obote announced moving to the left and actually nationalizing foreign banks, I think the former colonists were frightened, and I suspect that may have contributed to his overthrow in 1971 by Idi Amin.
The coup d'etat by Idi Amin in 1970 into economic decline, seeing GDP drop by 9%. Amin's regime expelled around 70,000 residents of Asian and European descent, dismantling the private sector that had been crucial for economic stability.
You will find this not against Britain at all. It is only transferring the economy to the hands of Ugandans.
When the Indians were expelled by Idi Amin in 1972, that sector really declined substantially and kept on declining, so that we had an economy. There was also a problem of price control. Government set prices for everything. For soap, for sugar, for soda, government set the price. And yet the government set price was different from the real market price.
His policies led to widespread seizure of businesses, skyrocketing external debt, and a collapse in investor confidence. By 1977, the East African Community was disbanded due to deteriorating regional relations.
It continued like that in 79 when Amin was overthrown, and UNRA, the National Liberation Front, came in, UNLF. There was a lot of confusion continuing. And the infrastructure, the roads, suffered a great deal.
After Amin's overthrow in 1979, Milton Obote returned to power but faced a devastated economy. The subsequent civil war further exacerbated the crisis. Economic reforms were necessary, including lifting price controls and encouraging the return of expropriated businesses. Join me on the next part of this Uganda's Economy series to find out how the NRM government took drastic charge of the sinking economy back to growth. Wadulo Makanold for UBC News in Kampala.
In the second part of the 62nd Independence Day series, we examine how the land question further gave the British more control of Uganda, but also caused land challenges that are still rampant even today. As Timothy Sibasi reports, Captain Frederick Lugard, popularly called Kapere Federico Lugard in Buganda, was the next big British arrival soon after the signing of the Protectorate. He was a representative of the Imperial British East African Company and of course the British.
Frederick Lugard, when he arrived in 18, he set up his fort around present-day Old Kampala, and soon he was involved in religious conflicts that had continued smoldering. The Protestants wanted British control, while the Catholics feared Germany and French control. Lugard, a British, naturally sided with the Protestants against the Catholics. Several big battles were fought around Mengo, and the Catholics were defeated.
Because there were religious wars here in Kampala, when the Anglicans or the Protestants fought the Roman Catholics, Lugard supported.
With this victory, the Protestants started dominating political leadership. Although in 1889 Kabaka Mwanga had been reinstated by a group of Christians, he was no longer the strong, authoritative leader, since he was now answerable to the powerful Christians, including the Katikiro Sir Apollo Kagwa, who was now the ear, eyes, and back of the British in the kingdom.
Institutionalized in 1900. So they parceled out Buganda to the chiefs. So they got and was given to the chiefs as a freehold mile land. And then the remainder was crown land or kingdom land or state land. But the chiefs maneuvered, they were very smart. The 1,000 chiefs, they maneuvered and managed to get the most fertile land, the most settled land, because they expected to get taxes.
While Katikiro Kagwa remained a focal point of the British in Buganda, the British realized that without control of land in Buganda, they would lack deep, long-lasting control of the country. This is when the 1894 to 1900 land agreement was hatched.
The problem with it is that the Milo land tenure system was so funny, was so complicated, that the freehold land title owners were not the only people on that land. That land also had people who had settled on it before, who became now tenants on the land of the Milo land holders. Each one is said to have been given roughly, is it 8 square of land? But on that land there were people settling there. And this land was not consolidated, it was not in one place. Chiefs managed to go throughout the Buganda territory, what came to be Buganda territory, and acquired different plots of land on which they were tenants, who the British, through the chiefs, made sure that they grew cotton, later on coffee, to be exported under comparison by the British, but effectively implemented by the chiefs.
Under the 1894 Protectorate Treaty between the British and Mwanga, it was agreed that for all matters affecting the alienation of land, all transfers, sales, gifts, or leases, the commissioner had to approve before such transactions were effected.
They came in to put in a system of land tenure. They had to have a land tenure that was suitable to colonial economy. So, in the case of Buganda Kingdom, the British introduced Milo land, or freehold of a certain type, in Buganda, to a small extent in Ankole, Bunyoro, Toro, and Busoga, but to a small extent, but largely in Buganda.
Between 1888 and 1892, it seemed that whatever party was in power had control over the land. When the Muslims held power between 1888 to 1889, it was perceived that all land belonged to them. And when the Christians held power between 1889 to 1892, all land too belonged to them. After the Mengo battle, there were proposals for the religious groups to take over clearly demarcated pieces of land.
When the British were fighting Kabalega, and they had also defeated the Muslims from here. So when the Muslims were coming back from the wars of Kabalega and the Bunyoro area, they went and settled in Butambara area. So when they were giving out Saza chiefs, Butambara area was more or less a Muslim area, Masaka area, Catholic area, and Chadondo, Mukono, whatever Bugerere, those became Protestant areas. So that is how that institutionalized religious domination of certain territories emerged.
To further strengthen colonial control in Buganda, the 1900 agreement was signed with the most important clauses about land. The agreement was largely negotiated by the three regents, Sir Apollo Kagwa, Stanislas Mugwanya, and Zakaria Kisingiri, plus some chiefs of the then Luchiko.
The likes of Apollo Kagwa, Stanislas Mugwanya, Kisingiri, and other chiefs, as chiefs, Gombora chiefs, acquired private, which was inhabited by the peasants, by the tenants, who later on paid them busuru and mvujo.
In the 1900 Buganda Agreement, the colonial government retains powers to construct roads and infrastructure anywhere using at least 10% of the property without compensation. On the other hand of injustices over land ownership in Buganda Kingdom, the 1900 Land Agreement created a huge loss of tenants whose reverberations, cries and tears are still rampant today across Buganda.
But this private property, of course, has since changed hands, been sold to different people. So it is not the same story, but the whole question of tenant-landlord relationships that we still have as a legacy begins from that 1900 Buganda Agreement that parceled out land to the 1,000 chiefs, which was political corruption, that we still have a legacy of using resources, this time it was a natural resource, to bribe the chiefs in return for political support for the colonial British.
Tomorrow we shall examine how the British colonialists expanded their authority to other regions of Uganda after signing the 1900 Land Agreement in Buganda Kingdom. Timothy Sibasi, UBC TV.
We thank you so much for watching. That is all we had for you at this particular moment. We'll get back with our other arrangement at 10 p.m. Let's catch you then. My name is Micheal Jordan Lukomwa with Elizabeth Nakakoni. Catch you at 10 p.m. Let's leave you with the forex exchange market.
Brought to you by... Download the Wendy app from Google Play or App Store or dial *229#. Wendy, wanaoli.